All right, here's a new video. We're going to start out with this report that was recently published here. 3 stocks on fire for good reason. Will the market give us an entry point? First of all, I don't give out any investment advice or make predictions. The dilemma here, stocks have been rallying. We've had a big rally, as many of you, I'm sure, are very much aware of. So what do you do? The reality is this. The market's been ripping to the upside. If you're reading the reports, particularly the one last weekend, I go into some things related to that and the amount of momentum we have. So you're going to have stocks that have done very, very well. What do you do with them? Do you just ignore them? I do not short at the current environment. The current environment that we have right now, I am not interested in shorting specific equities. There may be other things based on macro factors, but not specific equities right now. There will be a time for that at some point. So what do? Do you want to get long? Just ignore them. If you are interested in getting long or intrigued by that in any way, this video might be somewhat helpful for that, hopefully. So let's take a look at a couple here live right now. We're going to focus on 2 top groups here. They're right in the top 10 for IBD's industry group. Mining, metal ores, that's where CCJ, Campco's in. UEC, we're long that one. Both of those, they're in there. Energy, alt, other. We don't have anything there yet, but it's been up there near the top for a while. You can see 6 weeks ago it was third, and it's third right now. Mining, metal ores has been all over the leaderboard throughout the year. So first one we'll look at here is LEU, centrist energy. So why? Look, you see a divergence between the fundamentals and then the action, the price action, accumulation, distribution, price volume, etc., money flow. Sometimes there are scenarios where the fundamentals don't look that great right now, especially when you're looking backwards, like an EPS rating, even the rating from Investors Business Daily. Looking backwards, things don't look that great. But in terms of current price performance, is very, very, very strong. Let's look at LEU. So it's in that group, energy, alternative, other. The group's ranked third. Group has tremendous relative strength. We're definitely looking for that. Let's look at the fundamentals. Based on current information, EPS rating is not that great, and a lot of the data here doesn't really jump up at you. Last quarter, though, the earnings surprised 91%, and the current estimate is for very strong EPS growth. So you'll see that the market's more than aware of that. So it doesn't look amazing right now. Sometimes when you have a more mature stock, it might look better, but it's going to be certainly reflected in the price and the phase of growth. But we get down to the technicals from IBD's perspective. I look at a lot more than just what they do, but this stuff is very, very valuable. Relative strength, 99. Nothing else beats it. A plus accumulation distribution, up, down volume. You want to see something above 1. MPs is actually above 2 right now. It's in the report. And then 3 quarters in a row, which is extremely strong. 3 quarters in a row of funds increasing ownership. So the bigger institutional players want it. Here's the current chart. Obviously, that's been reflected in it. So what do you do? And this thing is taken off. It went down and touched this nice moving average back here and has a nice candle right there. All the volume was lower. It did close way in the upper half of the range. And since then, it's just essentially gone up. This thing has a lock on certain components within the uranium space. There's a high demand for that, and a strong need for that. So I'm kind of looking at it as, look, it is what it is. This thing is a runaway freight train in some respects. So if you want exposure, how do you do it? Let's look at exactly where it is right now and one way of maybe taking a look at that. So this is the daily chart right now. And as you can see, we've seen a little bit of retracement here. So this is one way. The weekly, let's get rid of that. The weekly chart is what was presented in the report. This is the daily chart. And you can see that, there's been a little bit of retracement here. You can look at a 4-hour chart and look at money flow, different levels of different time frames. Go into a lower time frame and watch closely. If you're willing to do this, if you want to see if you can scrape yourself an entry point, that's one method. What I do with smaller amounts, like, look, if I was going to say I had 100 apples I was going to put into this thing, I wouldn't put 80 apples in right now. I might put 5 or 10. And if we have a bigger correction, a legitimate correction, an actual market equity market correction, then stocks like this, in theory, should still exhibit strong relative strength. But what that might mean is on a weekly chart, you might get yourself a nice little entry point by being patient. So if they're going to maintain, if they're as strong as you think they are, they'll maintain that relative strength. And then maybe you get something that comes down in here if the market were to correct. So there's some ideas. Kick those around. Let us know what you think. The market, if it's in a rip-roaring rally, which could definitely change, I try to plan for all potential outcomes with an open mind. So from the standpoint of if things continue, how do I position myself? These are some of the types of stocks I may want some exposure to, because if you read the report from a fundamental standpoint, they are in a position right here and right now, in the reality of what's going on. They are in a very, very advantageous position. So there will be demand for the equity. How do you get in? That's the big debate, if you want to.